What's going on, everybody? Wally Walsek here. That's Too Bad Podcast, the first cruising chat of 2026. Full disclosure, if you hear this thumping noise, it is something going on in the back wheels of my golf cart here that I still need to figure out how to fix. Also, a little windy here today. Rain kind of took a break here, so I'm trying to do this real quick before the next wave of storms come through. But what I wanted to quickly chat about, if you heard the podcast last week, you remember that I kind of said 2026 is shaping up to be the year of the suspected winners, the guys on tour that we believe and know should be winning tournaments, versus 2025, where it was the year of the first time winners. But I think 2026 is shaping up to be a different story after Sunday. And I think it's a better story. And I think it's 2026 is the feel good story. Reason being, I mean, we already know about Anthony Kim winning his first tournament in over 15 years, about a month ago now on Live, after years away from the game, struggling with addiction, now working through his sobriety and just trying to find another love of the game through his daughter and his wife, especially. Um, but recently, this past Sunday, Gary Woodland, who wins his first tournament in, I think it's been a few years now. But what makes that such a cool and awesome story is the fact that it's, we all know he had brain surgery to remove some tumor that they found, gonna guess like 3-4 years ago. And then if you saw recently, he had an interview where he admits that he struggles with PTSD and that he's been struggling with it ever since the surgery and the diagnosis. Actually, so it's been a tough road for him to overcome his internal struggles and battles. Um, so it's such a cool story to see that he was able to overcome those internal struggles this past week and win the golf tournament in such a cool fashion. I mean, he led most. I think he led actually all 4 days. I'd have to double check. Definitely led 3 out of the 4 days, and kind of looking like the old Gary Woodland who won his first major back in, was it 2019 or 2018? He's up there in the driving distance and he's shaping the ball and he's making these putts. It's just you can't root against a guy like Gary Woodland before the brain surgery and all that, and you especially don't want to root against him even afterwards. But just again overcoming all these obstacles in his life and still working through it, but then to still win the golf tournament is such an awesome thing to see. And it's just, like I said, the feel good story of the year. Letting this guy get through. On the other side, and not the good side of this feel good story, is we all probably saw the breaking news last week with Tiger Woods rolling his SUV in a residential area. I'm sure it was his neighborhood. Blew zeros on the breathalyzer, so wasn't impaired by alcohol, but clearly was impaired by some type of prescription drug, is my assumption. Uh, this one goes back and forth with Tiger Woods, especially because when you're a longtime fan, you're just kind of thinking to yourself, what the hell is going on with this guy? Then there's the other side. I mean, luckily no one got hurt, including himself, that we know of. But we know no one, bystanders or oncoming traffic, nothing. No one got hurt, luckily. But you never know what that could have been like if that's the case. And it's getting to a point where you gotta believe he's abusing some type of prescription drug that clearly impairs his judgment. And what's sad is that he then gets behind the wheel. Same scenario as a drunk driver. This guy's a father of two. He has millions that look up to him, fans wise, of all ages. And he makes that poor life decision. And this isn't the first car accident. This is now, what, 3 or 4 in a span of almost 20 years. Now they're all different magnitudes, but still, it's just a terrible way to represent yourself. Um, Came out yesterday or this morning saying to the police that he flipped it because he was looking down on his phone and changing the radio. I don't really buy that because it's like, I mean, unless he was drifting and he then just swerved because something was coming at him or crossing him. I don't know. I have a hard time believing it. It's it's scary to think that he's on the road. This guy makes millions and millions of dollars through business ventures and not even really the golf anymore, but sponsors exemptions and different endorsement deals, and he could easily be paying someone to drive him places wherever he needs to be. And he chooses to get behind the wheel. I don't know why. Clearly, it's not a smart thing for him to do. Whether he's on prescription drugs or drinking or whatever the case is, clearly he can't make that decision to say to himself, "I just popped a couple pain pills. I probably shouldn't drive." I mean, he could fucking probably call Uber, probably probably own Uber at this point with all the money he's probably got, and he again chooses to get behind the wheel and not only harm himself but harm others, whether that's anybody in his own vehicle or the people, like I said, walking on that sidewalk or oncoming traffic. You just don't know. Um, so it's one of these cases where you're, as a fan for him for such a long time, you're put in a tough spot because you want to be mad at him as a fan because he's not only jeopardizing his life but others. But then you feel sorry for him and you're hoping that he can rebound and play golf again. I mean, it's not going to be obviously at the highest level. We might not even see him back on the PGA Tour, but maybe the Champions Tour or again like TGL. He just recently played on TGL, uh, which is I think his first form of competitive golf in over a year because of the recent leg and back surgeries. Uh, it's really disappointing. I mean, I truly hope if he is abusing some type of prescription drugs or whatever the case is that he gets the help for that, where he no longer abuses it. I mean, when you have countless surgeries, it's not an excuse, but you could see that if there's whatever he's abusing, it's probably the prescription drugs for pain management. But again, then he's making that decision to get behind the wheel, and it's just very disappointing. So I really hope he gets the help for that. Kind of hope Florida and just takes his license away from him for quite some time and just forces him to get a driver. It's what he needs because clearly he's not stable to be behind the wheel of any capacity. Um, Hate to end it on that bitter, sad note here, but that's all I got for you guys today. Again, 2026 is here. I can't wait to hit the links for the first time once it starts kind of consistently getting warm around here. Again, don't forget, I'm getting ready to create my YouTube page and upload some content on the course, on the driving range, etc. So make sure you give a follow and subscribe to the YouTube page and all my social media accounts. And don't forget about that podcast here. We're going to be recording here again shortly and kind of talk more in depth about everything that's going on in the game of golf here. So again, as always, let's go low.